I would like to welcome everyone and thank you for being here to learn about our ESL program. I am happy you are here today and I hope you enjoy this presentation. I would first like to introduce myself. My name is Dina Delavolpe. I am very passionate about teaching English as a second language and I would like to share my research and thoughts with you. As we get started, I would like to first discuss our mission. The focus for our school mission will be that ESL students will be provided with a supportive and challenging environment. This will help students acquire English language proficiency. Our mission is to make sure our students foster academic learning and support cultural development. This includes developing all 4 language skills, which are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. We are determined to prepare students for success in their classrooms and beyond. I would like to introduce to you our model program. We will use the ESL pull-out, push-in, and the sheltered instructional model. As for the Department of Education in New Jersey, ESL is required in all districts that serve 10 or more multilingual learners. ESL is a program designed to teach K through 12 students who are learning English as their second, third, fourth, or more language. ESL must be aligned to the WIDA standards, which focus on the language objectives for the content areas. An ESL instructional period must be the same in length as a period in an academic content area. There are 2 models used in New Jersey, which are the push-in and pull-out models. An ESL teacher will provide explicit standards-based and language-focused instruction. ESL teachers may work one-on-one, in small groups, or with a whole class of multilingual learners. ESL teachers will meet the 1 class period daily requirement, which is 40 minutes of instruction. In a push-in model, the ESL teacher typically will come into the classroom to work with the students on language objectives based on the content. In a pull-out model, students receive daily ESL instruction during a period from an ESL teacher in a setting outside the general education classroom. An ESL teacher may provide pull-out services by grade level to a group of multilingual learners. In a pull-out model, ESL teachers must still align their lesson plan to the NJSLS-based curriculum. As for demographics, we currently have 400 students enrolled in our grades 1 through 5 elementary school. We currently have 15 ESL students enrolled in our program. Our students are from all over the world, including Russia, Ukraine, Thailand, and many more countries. As for the rationale, the goal of the ESL program is to enable English language learners to become independent in reading, listening, speaking, and writing of the English language. This will happen through the development of literacy and academic skills in grade level content areas. The goal of this course is for ESL students to gain confidence in speaking, increase their vocabulary, start conversations, and improve fluency and accuracy. ESL teachers need to decide what key vocabulary, concept words, and other academic words students will need to know in order to talk, read, and write about the topic of the lesson. Teachers need to consider the language functions related to the topic of their lesson. As for the target language and eligibility, the target language of the program is English. A child will spend 1 period a day, which is 40 minutes, with a certified ESL teacher. When a parent registers their child at school, they will fill out a home language survey. Their child will get into the program based on their responses to those questions. The home language survey, as you will see sometimes HLS, is a questionnaire given to parents or guardians that help schools and LEAs identify which students are potential ELs and who will require assessment of their English language proficiency to determine whether they are eligible for language assistance services. So a home language survey is questions that a parent must answer about what languages the student first learned, understands, uses, and hears, and in what context. Parents and guardians should also be informed that even if their child is identified as an EL, they may decline the EL program or particularly EL services in the program. Here is some information about access testing. In New Jersey, Access for ELLs is a key assessment used to measure the English language proficiency of English language learners. It is administered annually to students in kindergarten through 12th grade who have been identified as ELLs. The assessment is designed to track student progress and determine their level of proficiency in speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Access for ELLs is a standardized test, and it's developed by WIDA, and it's given to ML students annually, once a year in February. Students must perform an overall score of a 4.5 in order to exit the program. Access is available in both paper and online formats for grades 1 through 12. States and districts select a testing format to meet their unique needs and requirements. And for kindergarten, Access and WIDA Alternate Access are both paper format tests. Here is some more information about access testing, and we're even going to talk about a can-do descriptor. So access scores are helpful for ESL and classroom teachers to know a student's level in English across 4 domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The level helps the teacher prepare on how to differentiate their instruction based on the student's language needs. The level also helps the teacher set realistic learning goals. The WIDA English language proficiency levels describe how well a student can use English in an academic setting. Similar to the WIDA English language development standards statements, the can-do descriptors describe what learners can do with language across different content areas. The can-do descriptor helps a teacher to better understand what students at different levels of language proficiency can do with language. As you can see from the pictures on my screen, you will notice that a level 1 is entering, and that is the beginning. And a level 6 is reaching, and that is when a child knows a lot of English and is reaching their goal. As for newcomers, what is a newcomer? If you've never heard of this term, a newcomer is an ML student who is new to the country. Newcomers to the United States often have low proficiency in English, but depending upon their age, they might have had considerable education in their home language. An ESL teacher can use a proficiency level descriptor as a resource to support their students. An example of using this can mean understanding that a student on a level 1 will need support in grammar. A student will need a sentence starter and word banks to get started. A newcomer may only be able to say words or phrases. The use of words, pictures, pattern language with repetitive words is extremely helpful for those kind of students. An important factor to always consider is the child's age. One of the most intriguing and hotly debated issues in second language learning revolves around the issue of the role of age in acquiring an L2. So it is believed that the earlier one begins to learn an L2, the more progress a student or a child will make. Also, a newcomer may go through a silent period, and that means that the students may not speak, especially in large groups, and maybe during the first 6 months. This may or can last longer depending on personality, comfort level, motivation, tolerance of errors, and more. Flashcards with words and visuals are extremely helpful to newcomers. In this slide, I'm going to talk to you about Project Read. Project Read is the program that we use to teach our ML students. Project Read has a phonics, reading, writing, and a comprehension program. The curriculum honors diverse learning and provides lessons built on direct concept teaching, targeted multi-sensory strategies, and higher-level thinking skills. The program teaches students how to label their sentences. Grammar provides the rules for putting words together, and instruction often focuses on the form and inflection of words. The grammar translation method was a way of teaching in classrooms for many years that focused on explicit teaching and memorization of grammatical rules. This method also encouraged students to develop reading skills in the target language, and the development of oral fluency was not much of a focus. As you can see on the bottom of my slide, I did give an example. When I use Project Read, one example is it teaches children about a subject, and a subject names the person, place, thing, or animal that the whole sentence is about. That's just like one example of something that we would teach our students. And if you notice, right next, we have a sentence like, for example, the boy walked to the store, and the boy is labeled with a person because a boy is a person for the noun as the subject, and store is located with a little house because that subject shows that's a place. This slide talks about WordWall. So wordwall.net is the site, and it allows teachers to create interactive games and print materials for their students. Teachers simply enter the content they want, and WordWall automatically does the rest. Teachers may make custom activities for their classroom. Teachers can make quizzes, match-ups, word games, and much more. Interactives are played on any web-enabled device, like a computer, a tablet, a phone, or an interactive whiteboard. They can be played individually by students or be teacher-led, with students taking turns in front of the class. Teachers can also choose if they would like a printable version, which can be printed out directly or downloaded as a PDF file. Either way, WordWall is a very interactive and engaging activity an ESL teacher can do with his or her students. This slide talks about the supervisor of the ESL program, and it also talks about instructional material. So in our school district, an ESL supervisor is the person who runs the ESL program. The supervisor makes sure that the classroom and the ESL teachers are SIAV trained. The ESL supervisor oversees the ESL teachers to make sure that they are Access trained each year. The supervisor is the one who makes sure that ML students are supported in English by using Lexia Core and Lexia English as a homework given each night. Lexia believes technology is a key component of personalized learning. Their approach combines effective teacher-led instruction with interactive experiences to support a wide variety of students. So with Lexia, teachers are able to prioritize and differentiate instruction, allowing students to develop critical reading skills at their own pace. Their approach to literacy and language instruction builds upon prior learning in a sequential manner. Lexia is formulated to the learner to go from simple to complex. This will help to strengthen a student's relationship with learning. ML students will use Project Read materials to help learn phonics, reading, and grammar. Teachers are also encouraged to find additional materials and engaging activities to make sure that ML students have visuals to help them better understand the material. The supervisor is the one who makes sure to hire enough ESL teachers to make sure a small group can take place. Each ESL teacher may only get 2 to 4 students at a time, and those numbers, of course, are ideal. Our program will include WordWellNet for ESL teachers to engage their students. In this slide, I will focus on talking about teachers, students, and parents. So for teachers, they will receive training and staff development each year on giving the access and for learning the material that they will be teaching. Teachers meet with their supervisor and other ESL teachers 4 times a year for department meetings to discuss what is expected. Teachers will be expected to attend the TESOL conference each year. If you're not sure what TESOL is, it actually provides opportunity for the voices of teachers and ESL and bilingual students to be heard to make changes through alerts about legislation that will affect them. Students are responsible for taking a benchmark test 4 times a year. They will be monitored for their progress and growth. Students are responsible for completing their homework on Lexia by logging on to the site for 10 minutes each night. This is recommended. Students will be receiving 1 period of ESL instruction. Certain students will have the ESL teacher pushed into their classroom to support them for an extra period. Parents will be invited to parent advisory meetings 4 times a year. This will be held at a school, and ESL teachers will present to the parents to make them knowledgeable about our ESL program. Parents are encouraged to sign their child up for our ESL summer program to enhance their language in English. Parents will meet their child's ESL teacher during back-to-school night and parent-teacher conferences. This way, when ESL teachers interact with parents, it gives them the opportunity to speak with their teacher and ask them any concerns or positive things that are happening in the classroom. The meetings also keep the parents informed. This slide focuses on the classroom teacher and the ESL teacher. So a classroom teacher will be SIOP trained. The classroom teacher will have about, this is an example, 2 to 4 students in their class that are ML students. ML stands for a multilingual learner. So it refers to students who are learning English in addition to 1 or more other languages that they already speak. Multilingual learners are students who are developing proficiency in multiple languages. Students are learning English as an additional language in school. Multilingual learners is an expansive term that encapsulates the variety of linguistic backgrounds, their abilities, their learning stages, and experiences of students in the education system. Students are developing multiple languages, and their proficiency in language may vary across language dimensions, which are, like you heard before, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. An ESL teacher will have his or her own classroom. So the class is used for pulling students out. The ESL teacher will have time set in his or her schedule to push in. So push in means the ESL teacher will help the ML students in their sheltered classroom. Besides talking about how the day is constructed, ESL teachers will experience ID factors. ESL teachers will have the opportunity to notice that there are a multitude of individual differences, which are actually called ID factors that can play a role. So ESL teachers will notice their students in learning a second language. Differences have been examined. Here are some examples: intelligence, aptitudes, attitudes, motivation, personality, learning style, cognitive style, and learning strategies, they all play a part in how their student will progress. We need to consider that these factors, they may interact in various ways, as they are all associated with each individual language learner and cannot be examined in total isolation. So, as an example, when measuring one learner's motivation, that person also has certain personality traits, a characteristic learning style, as for any student. But as I mentioned before, the classroom teacher who has the ML students in his or her class will be a sheltered classroom. Sheltered instruction is used in mainstream classrooms that include a combination of ELLs and native English speakers, or in classrooms with ELLs only. Sheltered instruction is designed to provide second language learners with the same high quality content that native English speakers receive through a combination of techniques and a focus on academic language development. Teachers trained in sheltered instruction implement sheltered techniques in all content areas, and this includes math, science, social studies, and English. This slide will focus on SIOP. So the ESL teacher and classroom teachers that teach ML students, they must be trained in SIOP. So what is SIOP? What does it stand for? The Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol is what SIOP stands for. And what is it? It's a framework. It's used for planning and delivering instruction. Teachers will plan this in content areas such as science, history, mathematics to English language learners, as well as other students. The goal of SIOP is to help teachers integrate academic language development into their lesson, allowing students to learn and practice English as it is used in the context of school, including the vocabulary used in textbooks and lectures in each academic discipline. This helps teachers to modify the way that they teach. The language they use to explain concepts and information must be comprehensible to these students. The SIOP model consists of instructional strategies that cover 8 aspects of lesson design and delivery: lesson preparation, building background, comprehensible input, strategies, interaction, practice and application, lesson delivery, and review and assessment. When teachers receive this training as professional development on the SIOP model, this is done before using it, and this way it helps them to modify their lessons. This review of SIOP focuses on research, and the research examines its impact on the learning of English language learners in grades K through 8. As you can see on the slide, you will see a SIOP, and then you will see the umbrella. And underneath the umbrella, it mentions teacher effectiveness, cooperative learning, writing process, standards, differentiated instruction, interventions, and ESL techniques. And as for the Venn diagram, it talks about sheltered instruction, which is emphasis on content instruction through language, and English language development, which is emphasis on language instruction through content, and in the middle is academic language, which means that that's what they both have. In this slide, this focuses on teacher evaluations, SGOs, and summatives. ESL teachers will also be evaluated and scored. And it's just to make sure that they're a good fit to teach ML students. It's also not just ESL teachers, it's all teachers. But teachers that are non-tenured will be evaluated using the Danielson framework 3 times a year. Teachers will be evaluated by Now it can be their supervisor, their principal, or vice principal. It can actually be any administration like in the district. But how it is planned is one observation is always going to be announced. That way the teacher will know that someone is coming in. The other two will be unannounced. The observations will be lasting 20 minutes. Tenured teachers will be observed 2 times a year for 20 minutes. Some districts can even observe you for 40 minutes, depending on your district. But one of those will be announced, and the others will be unannounced. So non-tenured teachers will be required to submit an SGL. That just shows students' growth from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Teachers will usually give a test in the beginning, and it's called a pre-test, and towards the end it will be a post-test. And then if you did your best and the students learned from you, they will just show growth, and that will help you in the end. So as for summatives, all teachers have a summative, regardless if you are tenured or non-tenured. But for a summative, teachers do receive a score, and that shows how well he or she performed for the school year. While all New Jersey teachers receive an annual summative evaluation rating of, it could be highly effective, which is a 4, effective, which is a 3, partially effective, which is a 2, and a 1, which means ineffective. The components used to determine these ratings, they vary depending on the grades and subjects that educators teach. ESL teachers and all teachers in New Jersey receive a summative evaluation, and it always happens at the end of the school year. This evaluation is part of the teacher evaluation process in the state, which aims to assess teacher effectiveness and inform professional development. As you can see on my slide, this is broken down into domains. That explains domain 1, and it's about planning and preparation. Domain 2 is classroom environment. Domain 3 is instruction. Domain 4 is professional responsibilities, and this is basically what your summative is about, and it's making sure that you completed these goals and that you were demonstrating these things, and then it worked out as you're teaching. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope that you found it informative and learned a lot about my ESL program. Thank you for your time and for giving me the opportunity to share my ESL program with you. I hope that this presentation provided valuable insights, and I hope it was both informative and helpful. As you can see on the next few slides, these are all of the resources that I found. This resource talks about WordWellNet, so if you would like to learn more, you can click here. The next one talks about SIOP and being trained in SIOP. The next one talks about the teacher evaluation. This one talks about multilingual learners. The next one talks about Lexia. This website will focus on the NJTESOL. This one will focus on WIDA. The next one will focus on the Department of Education of them talking about the use of Project READ. This one will focus on ELL teaching strategies. This website will give you more information about newcomers. This next one will give you more information about proficiency level descriptors. What are proficiency level descriptors? You can click here if you would like to learn more about that. And this one is talking about WIDA, the can-do descriptors. This slide also is a works cited page. This one is English as a Second Language, ESL requirements. This was the book that I used for my class. And as you can see, I have other resources that you can click on. This was actually the book I used for my class, introducing second language acquisition. This website here talks about Language Circle Enterprises. This is also more about Project Read. This website talks about multilingual learners. If you'd like to learn more about that, you can click here. And this website talks about sheltered instruction. Like I said before, I really enjoyed presenting this slide, and I hope this information was informative. Thank you for listening and have a great day.